Welcome back to this channel. So if alpha, beta are elements of complex, are the distinct roots of the equation x squared minus x plus 1 is equal to 0, then alpha raised to the power of 101 plus beta raised to the power of 107 is equal to what? Solution: look at this quadratic equation. If you look at it critically, you can see that it is not factorizable. So we need to use formula method. And the formula method to find quadratic equation: x is equal to minus b plus or equal to square root of b squared minus 4 multiplied by a multiplied by c, all the expression raised to over 2a. So from here, a is equal to 1, b is equal to minus 1, that is the coefficients, then c is equal to 1. So let's substitute. X is equal to, if you substitute, you are going to get 1 plus or minus square root of 3, then I divided by 2. So if you look at this very well, you see that it looks like the root of a cube root of unity. If you want to find the cube root of unity, cube root of 1, and you equate it to be equal to a, you get 1 is equal to a cubed. So if you have here 1 is equal to a cubed, then you have a cubed minus 1 is equal to 0. And this is difference of 2 cubes, that is a cubed minus 1 cubed. So if you have something like this, the formula for that is that a minus 1 into bracket a squared, then plus a, then plus 1. So from here now, you can now see that we have, and everything is equal to 0. So that means a minus 1 is equal to 0. So a is equal to 1. So, and we have a squared plus a plus 1 is equal to 0. So if you look at this equation with this quadratic equation that we are dealing with, you can see that they are almost the same thing. It's just that the coefficient of a here is plus 1 and coefficient of x here is minus 1. So if you find this one, the root of this quadratic equation is a is equal to minus 1 plus I root 3 over 2, plus or minus. So, and they take this one to be equal to a1 is equal to minus 1 plus I root 3 over 2, or a2 is equal to minus 1 minus I root 3 everything over 2. So in this cube roots of unity, they call the roots, they call them omega. Omega is equal to minus 1 plus I root 3 over 2, and omega squared is equal to minus 1 minus I root 3 over 2. So we are going to use this omega. So we have 1 plus omega squared is equal to 0. So you have to know all this one. And you have to remember that omega cubed is equal to 1. So you have to remember that. So now we can now say that our alpha, that is the root of the initial quadratic equation, or beta, will now be equal to, since this one has minus at the front, this one doesn't have minus, so we can now say that our alpha here is minus omega, and the beta is what? Minus omega squared. That is, we want to use this omega and omega squared, we want to use it to represent alpha and beta. Alpha raised to the power of 101 plus beta raised to the power of 107 becomes minus omega raised to the power of 101. I'm replacing omega with alpha, then plus minus omega squared raised to the power of 107. So the same thing is applicable to beta as well. So alpha raised to the power of 101 plus beta raised to the power of 107 becomes minus omega raised to the power of 101, then plus minus omega. These exponents, we can multiply them together. So 2 multiplied by 107 gives 214. So the next thing is that I want their exponents to be in form of a cube. So the next thing that I'm going to do now is that I'll say that minus omega raised to the power of 99 plus 2. So that this one is a multiple of 3. So I want it like that. So plus minus omega 213 plus 1. So I have minus omega raised to power 3 raised to power 33, then multiply by omega squared, then plus minus omega cubed raised to the power of 71 multiplied by omega. So, and recall that my omega cubed is equal to 1, so I have minus 1 raised to the power of 33 multiplied by omega squared, then plus minus 1 raised to the power 71 multiplied by omega squared. So minus 1 raised to the power 33 will give me minus 1 because the exponent is odd. So multiply by exponent omega squared, then plus minus 1. The power of this minus 1 is also an odd number, so the answer will be negative. So multiply by omega. So I have minus 1 multiplied by omega squared will give me minus omega squared. So then plus times minus will give me minus then omega. So I have, let me factorize minus out. So I have minus in the bracket omega squared plus omega. And recall, I have 1 plus omega squared to be equal to 0. That means omega plus omega squared is equal to minus 1. Wherever I see omega plus omega squared, I'm going to put minus 1 there. So minus into bracket omega squared plus omega is equal to minus 1. So my answer is equal to 1. That is alpha raised to the power of 101 plus beta raised to the power of 107 of the equation x squared minus x plus 1 is equal to 1. So if you have any question, you can leave it for me in the comment section. Thank you. God bless you. Bye bye.